One of my favorite features that I always use within my Smart Virtual Solutions system built on Go High Level is being able to have scheduling links so that people can easily schedule with me. So I just have to give someone a link, they can compare it to their own schedule, they can see what my availability is, and then they can book a meeting. On the back end of that, then there's automations that I have set up so that people are getting the confirmations, the reminders, and all of the extra pieces. So the system, since I started using it 4 or 5 years ago, has made some massive updates in how calendars are done. And the last couple of videos that I made do not actually reflect what the changes are. So we're going to do a brand new video. Hello. And we're going to look at some of the calendar things to set up your calendar so that you can start having people schedule with you. So you should have already gone through the integrations area and integrated your either your Google Calendar, your iCal calendar, or wherever you have an actual calendaring system. If you don't have one of those, you can use the system, the internal SVS system. That's not a problem, but you need to make sure that that's what your life runs on. So if you have a doctor's appointment, if you're taking the day off, you need to make sure that you have a calendar that you're using to block things off. But what we're going to do in this video, if you haven't done integrations, we'll cover that somewhere else, or you can reach out to me and I'm happy to help. But this is actually creating and discussing the different types of calendars that you can use. And we're going to create the one that's most people will be using, which is the personal one-on-one calendar. But there's others in here that you can look at as well. So we are starting on the Launchpad. So to get to the calendar section, there is a button right here for calendars. Now we are in my account, so you're going to see a mess of gobbledygook on all of the things that are, that I've got scheduled for a week. So this is what your calendar looks like. Now, if you have multiple people in your system, you can even see what they have connected as well. But I'm just showing myself and what my availability is. And because I'm logged in as myself, I can see all of these things. If I was looking at someone else's calendar, I would just see these things blocked out. I wouldn't see what they were actually called because we can have that set up. Up here at the top, there's another menu area, so we can see appointments in this area. So these are the upcoming appointments that are set up in my system at the moment. So you can actually see what those are. Then you can also see, so this is upcoming. You can also see the all of them. So you can see when people have confirmed or canceled, and you can change the status. So you can go from confirmed to showed to no showed to canceled to invalid. So you can change all of those and then run different communications or automations after that. So we're going to go into the calendar settings, and this is where we can see all of the calendar events that we have set up. So if you've ever used something like Calendly, this is that same general idea. You would set up a new, they call it just in the system, just create a calendar. This would actually be creating like Calendly, a calendar event. So this is what you want people to be able to book with you on. So I'm going to create a calendar, and then it's going to give me some options. So I'm going to actually do this explore more types as well and talk about these individual options. Personal booking is when you want to have someone meet for a consultation or something like that, and it's just one-on-one. So typically that would be you doing a networking event with someone that you met. So it's just a one-on-one coffee chat or a discovery call, a consultation, something like that. So it's one person to another, and it's just one-on-one. If you are in an industry where you have multiple people in your office or in your company, and you have multiple people that are like sales teams or things like that, marketing consultants or coaches, and you want it to be the calls to be distributed across multiple people, that's where you would do round robin in this instance. You can have class booking. So this would be classes like yoga classes, webinars. If you have group trainings, online classes, that's where class booking would come in. So it's one host, multiple participants. Or you have collective booking. So this is multiple hosts meet with one participant. So if you are doing a sales call that's a little bit more engaged, that has your salesperson and your tech advisor, you could have that plus the person that potential client that they're meeting with. Panel interviews, community reviews, things like that. Then in the more types, you have an event calendar. So this doesn't necessarily have a host attached to it. It doesn't go onto any one specific calendar, but this would be an event like you're having a conference or public seminars, things like that. And then you have service bookings. So I have a whole other training specific to service calendars and service trainings that this would be if you are selling a particular service. So for example, you're a hair salon, a barber, a massage therapist, someone like that, and you're selling, people are coming to your website, booking a service from your site. This would then have it use the service calendar. So that's where this one comes into play. But 9 times out of 10, most of the people that I'm dealing with, they want the personal booking. So it's you one-on-one with someone coming in to schedule with you. So that's what we're going to go over. These others work relatively the same, except for service bookings. So when you look at these, you can kind of see what their differences are. But here's what the personal booking looks like. So we're going to start, and we want a calendar name. So I'm going to just do a testing calendar October 2024. And so we have that this is with me. Now, if you wanted this to be with someone else, you could choose someone else that's currently in your system. So that's where you could change this. Then you would choose your custom URL. Now, here's where a weird thing that the system has, and it's actually the URL is based on everybody using the system. So you want to do kind of an extra slug, an extra little piece to show that it's yours and then have it do something else. So my system is called Smart Virtual Solution. So I would probably do SVS / and then whatever I want this to be. Or you can use like your own. So my other initials are TBR, so I could do that. So when I say that, it's SVS / and then I'm going to do testing October, just because this is what I'm calling this one. So now how long do you want this meeting to be? So you do need to have a very specific amount of time. If you really want these to be 15 minutes, that's perfectly fine, but you want to choose however long you want this meeting to be. And you can do minutes or hours. And it does need to stay within the same 24-hour time frame, because there is not an overnight in the system. So it doesn't go from once you hit midnight, it doesn't have into the next day availability at this time. So you do want to do it, typical office hours kinds of thing. How long do you want this meeting to be? Now, your booking availability. This is just generic for right now. We can update this and do more. This just gets us started. So I'm going to leave this as 8 to 5, or maybe, do something that's a little bit different. I'm going to do 9 to 5, and maybe I'm going to get rid of Monday. Okay. This is just starting out. You can get bigger and deeper into this in just a moment. So just put something in here to get yourself started. And then do you want to accept payments? And you can click this on now, but I would say let's just move on into advanced settings. So, and I would do advanced settings first. I would not hit confirm because it takes you back out. You want to go into the system. So I would click on advanced settings to go into the next screen. So the rest of what we're going to be talking about is going to actually be getting us to a point where it looks like this or something like this. So that's why we're looking at the screen first, is this is what we're kind of aiming for the system to look like. So it has a logo so that it has how long it is. Now, I will admit this one is actually a service calendar, so it does have a payment, but this is specific to how your calendar should look as well. Additionally, we can set up groups. Once we set up the individual calendars, we can set up groups, which is down the road, and then have the meetings look different as well. So these are some other ways that your calendar should look. So if we're looking at a 30-minute one, this is what your people should see when they're trying to connect with you, so that they can see what times are available, maybe have some branding for yourself, have your logo, and have that information. So I'm going to be referencing back to this calendar so you can see what it looks like, so why we're entering data where we are. So if we go back into the system, this is why I'm showing you what that other calendar looks like, because the calendar logo does say that it would be 180 by 180. So that is just a very small square. And so this is coming in right here. So this is where that logo would come in. It is small. You're not going to get it bigger. This is just the way that the modal works or the way that the calendar itself works. But this does have your branding on it so that people can see that it is you. So this is where that logo would come into play. Now, the calendar name, this is also client facing. So this 30-minute wellness discovery, this is what the calendar name is. So it is contact facing. So you want to make sure that it's not just for you, but it's for them as well. Additionally, the same thing with the description. This description is also contact facing. So you want to make sure that you put something so that they know exactly what they're getting scheduled for, and has those pieces. Now, because this is going on the internet and potentially going onto your website, then you can also make sure that it's got keywords in it so that it is SEO optimized. So that's another way to have that out there in the world as well. And you don't have to, but that's where this description comes into play. Now, I mentioned the group. So on this particular calendar, we were looking at the scheduling page, and there was a group of 3 different meetings. So that's where that comes into play, is do you want to just give one link and it shows multiple calendar possibilities at the same time? So we can put them all on a scheduling page like we have here, and you can also give out a link to just the group page. So this particular system is set up, and hers is Wellness Discovery Sessions. That is the name of her group. You do not have to use groups. For me in my business, I don't use groups, but some people can and do, and it makes it a little bit easier because that's what they're used to from other systems. So now we have our custom URL. So this is what we already set up. So again, it had that little pre-slug, that other extra page, and then the name of or a smaller version of the name of the calendar. This meeting invite title, it just starts with contact name. But what this actually is how is this going to show up on the calendar invite? So when you are looking at an actual calendar, you can see here, I've got coffee chat with, I have coffee chat with. And so what these are, this is coffee chat with, and that's the contact name and my name. So that is what the meeting invite title is. This is both client or contact facing and you facing. So you don't just want to have the contact name, because by having that, what you're having is when it goes onto their calendar, that's all they're seeing is their name. That doesn't tell them what kind of meeting it is, who it's with, what it's about, anything like that. It also doesn't help you if you're doing this so that you know that this is maybe a 30-minute wellness session with that person and you. So you want to make sure that your meeting invite title has it for client facing or contact facing, so they know who they're meeting with, and personal for yourself as well. So it needs to work for both of you. So because we're just going to keep going with the theme of testing October calendar with, and so it's with contact name and so this is why I do it that way. So it makes sure that they know who they're meeting with, I know who I'm meeting with, and we know what the meeting is about, what the meeting type is. Okay. So we go backwards where we make sure that we have our self-selected, or if you're building this for one of your teammates, you can have that. Now, this would be your meeting location, this section here. Now, my standard is to have it as custom and then have it as a Zoom link, because for some reason, my Zoom link has broken in the past when I've done the Zoom integration, but you can use the other integrations from the calendar. So your Google Meet, your Zoom integration. I believe that Microsoft Teams is now an option. You can have multiple locations, so you can let the person choose if they want to do it in person or at your location, or if you want to do it virtually. So you can have multiple locations in here now. So you can actually set, and you can even ask the booker. So that's a new one as well. So you can ask them how they want to do it. Do they want to maybe do a phone call instead of a Zoom? How do you want to do this? If I was doing this, the way that I typically do this with Zoom is because with my integration breaking in the past, now it doesn't always, usually works really well. So you can absolutely use your Zoom integration. But one of the things that you can also do is just copy and paste your Zoom link. Or if you're using another tool that is not these, maybe you're using one of those WebEx ones or something else, you can copy something else, some other links, something else into this section. Now, the other thing that you can do is if you have something that you use on a regular basis that's not integrated, you can click on this tag. You can look at your account or at contact information, and you can put something else in here. So these are custom values and custom fields that you can add to make it a little bit easier. If you are using a Zoom link and you copied that Zoom link, you can add a display label. So you can add a label that says meet virtually via Zoom or whatever you would like to use. And so you can make it a pretty hyperlink instead of the long, messy URL. Then you can also add a location. So maybe you do want to have meeting in person. So then you can add, and so this, when it has these little parenthesis, not parenthesis things, when it has these things here, these are tags with the system. So it's going to pull your address that we have in the system for you. So if you want them to be able to meet at your location, if you're a massage therapist with your own office or an energy worker or something like that, you can meet in this way. So there's that option. If you're a plumber, a roofer, someone like that, and you want to go to their location, instead of using this full address, this is where you can ask the booker, where do they want to meet? So then they can provide you with their information for where they would need you to show up. These colors are specific to Google Calendar colors. These are the only colors that are available in Google Calendar. So I'm not sure about iCal. I don't know how, I don't use Apple products, but these are the colors specific to Google Calendar. So when you're looking at your Google Calendar, so for example, mine, then you can actually see that I've got different color coding. So when certain meetings come across, I have them as specific colors so I know which ones are most important or, have specific meaning. So that's what these colors are, is say you're meeting with a client versus a networking meeting, or you're doing training versus something else. So you would have different colors just to kind of help yourself and potentially help the other person kind of keep track of the different colors. So if you've made any changes, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll hit save, and this will take us to the next screen. And of course, I didn't enter something somewhere. So what did I not enter somewhere? Oh, I got to get rid of these. And then we're just going to put testing, and we're going to save. So at least you see that the system gives you some error messages or tells you where the error messages are. Okay, so for some reason, it puts us down at the bottom of the page. So we're going to scroll all the way up. And this is talking about availability, right? So when we started this, it gave us the 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So just generic hours. So I can go back and I can add Monday back in. And then maybe instead of 8 to 5, I really actually work 10 to 7. Okay. But I don't want to enter 10 to 7 on each individual one. So I'm going to hit this button here and we're going to duplicate it so we can either copy to all, or maybe I only work these hours on Monday and Friday, which sounds terrible. So not Friday, we'll do Thursday, and we'll apply that. And now you notice Monday says 10 to 7, Tuesday says 9 to 5, Thursday says 10 to 7. Okay. So you can you can make changes. Now you can even say, okay, I see a lot of different like doctor's offices and places like that. They're like, okay, so I actually only want it to show 9 to noon. And then I want it to have 1 to 6. Okay. So now we can copy this, and instead we can copy it to all. We're not going to work on Sunday or Saturday. So we're going to apply that. And now you can see that you have these very specific hours. So you can do whatever you need to with your availability, whatever you want to do. You can add more little sections for time frames, things like that. If you have weird availability, so maybe you have different things happening on different days, but every other Tuesday you have a meeting, every other Thursday you have another meeting, once a month on Wednesday you have a meeting. it's best just to have your calendar as wide open as possible so that, and then you keep track of these other extra things with your overall calendar, not with this individual event, but with the overall calendar. So you would go into, like for me, I go into my Google Calendar and I do time blocking. So it may be, so I have something very specific happening tomorrow morning and then on Friday. So I have those blocked off very specifically. But if I know, for example, that my week is pretty light next week, or I know that I needed to make some things up, or I needed to give some availability, I can change this and I can edit it and I can make it, okay, I'm going to leave my calendar open so I can meet with more people on a Friday afternoon. So it's a lot easier to run your calendar based on on your overall calendar, and then have your actual event calendar set up as or as open as possible, and then make changes the other way. Now, there is this look busy piece, and I kind of hate it. I don't use it. I don't think that we really need it. But basically, it's trying to show that you're in demand. And I think that you can do that with your main calendar without having a computer do it for you. Or even, I don't know that it's necessary, but that's totally up to you. You can use it. You can scroll over this and kind of see what that is. I think it's kind of silly. The recurring meeting piece, I fully admit I don't use the recurring meeting in this system. There's a few glitches to it that I don't actually like. If I'm going to have a recurring meeting with someone, I would rather build it in a different way, or use the Google Calendar to set it up as a recurring meeting once the initial meeting is set up. So I kind of prefer doing it that way than using this recurring meeting. If you want more information on recurring meetings and why I prefer not to use it, you're welcome to reach out to me and I'm happy to help. And this is where we get into the nitty gritty about the actual event. So we have your meeting duration is here. It's 30 minutes. So this is what we set on the first screen. The meeting interval is how often do you want this appointment to be available on your calendar? So the 30 minutes means you're going to have it at 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. So it's every 30 minutes. That's what the meeting interval is. If you want to book it a little bit faster, you can have the 15s. You can go down as far as you want. So you can have 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, and so on if you did a 15-minute interval. So you can do this for whatever you would like. The minimum scheduling notice is, do you want to have any kind of a bit of a notification time before someone can schedule with you? So for example, mine is 1 day. I don't like people scheduling with me on the same day because I kind of plan my day either the night before or that morning. So I kind of like to have it sit there. And then if I have someone that contacts me and wants to meet, perfectly fine. But I like to have my scheduling be for starting tomorrow. Totally up to how you want to run your business. If you want a 2-day notice, if you want something like that. But this is, how long do people have to wait before they can get their first possibility with you? This date range is how far in advance or how far in the future do you want people to be able to see your calendar? Some people do a month, some people do 3 months. So how far out into the future do you want people to be able to book with you? So totally up to you what you want to do on here. Maximum bookings per day. This is actually a little bit misleading. This is not maximum bookings of this calendar. I know that's what it says, but that's not really how it works. This is how many appointments in 1 day do you want to have total? So if you say 10 appointments and you've got 9 things already done, then it's for any number of different things. Maybe you use time blocking. Maybe you have other things in your system. If you have maximum bookings per day at 9, your calendar will only show 1 availability if you say you only want 10 bookings per day. So what is the visual of that? So I have on this particular calendar, I have 1, 2, 3, for 5 bookings listed here. If I went into one, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bookings here. These are bookings. These are actual appointments, separate appointments listed on my calendar. So it will look at that going, okay, there's 6 here. I can only schedule 4. If these were 15-minute meetings, I would only get 4 potential meetings. So that's what this is talking about. So if we were looking at here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I had a different, if I had one person trying to schedule with me, even though I have a lot of it blocked out, you wouldn't be able to schedule with me. So it makes it a lot more difficult to be able to schedule when you have maximum bookings per day. So I leave this alone. I leave it completely alone. I don't put anything in here ever. Maximum bookings per slot per user. So this is actually kind of going back to the old system of this being a class offer, or having multiple people come into a group session. So this kind of goes along with like a class booking. So maybe you want to have multiple people schedule with you for this particular time. And even though this is supposed to be the one-on-one calendar, this is allowing you to actually use it not just one-on-one, but one-on group. So you can have multiple people book for this particular time. So if you're doing a class, if you're doing a group session, if you're doing a mastermind kind of thing, multiple people can schedule in this particular time frame. These buffer times, a pre-buffer time and a post-buffer time, gives you a little bit of minutes before or after a meeting. Now, this is where math gets kind of complicated in this piece, which is in this meeting interval, you automatically you're going in at 30 minutes. Okay, so it's a 30-minute meeting, and your interval is you're going to show it every 30 minutes. So if you have a post-buffer time, so after the meeting, you want 15 minutes. So let's put it as, okay, so I opened a Word document. We'll see if we can show this. Okay, so we have a 30-minute meeting. It's a 30-minute interval. Okay, and we have a 15-minute post or after buffer. So what that means, originally, it would be that you would have a meeting at 1, 1:30, 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30. Okay, so that's not looking at that. So that's what we're looking at right here. Okay, so these are the potential possibilities. If you have a 30-minute meeting, a 30-minute interval, and a 15-minute buffer, okay, so say someone schedules. So this is actually a 45-minute meeting. So this is gone. Okay, because what happened is you have 30 minutes to meet and a 15-minute buffer. So that takes your time away. So that's 30 to 15, that's 45. So your 1:30 is no longer available. So now it just shows that you're available at 1 and at 2. So someone schedules with you at 2, then this is gone. Okay, because again, it's 45 minutes. So if we brought these back, all right, and we had this with a 15-minute post and a 15-minute pre, then it's the same general idea. Okay, so now you're making this a 1-hour meeting. So if someone schedules with you here, you already know that this is gone. But now this is gone too, because you've basically made this a 1-hour meeting, because it's the 30 minutes for the meeting itself, 15 minutes pre and 15 minutes post. So that is going to make it changes the math. So it makes that meeting actually 1 hour, even if 30 of those minutes are for you pre and post. So that's where that math gets a little bit complicated. So even if, instead of doing 15-minute buffers, let's just talk this one with a 5-minute buffer. Okay, so let's get rid of these, and we're going to do 1, 1:30, 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30. Even with this being a 5-minute post buffer, you just want 5 minutes because you have a 30-minute interval, you're only showing the availability on the ones and the 30s, on the zeros and the 30s. Then if someone schedules here, because your meeting, it becomes 35 minutes, this is gone. So it's not available. So your next availability is the 2 o'clock because you have a 35-minute meeting, you've gone over your time, and your interval is the 30 minutes. So when you are looking at these schedules, this information, then you do want to make sure that all of this shows properly. You want to make sure that you have the right math and you're paying attention to what that is. So that's where a lot of people get really confused, is in the maximum bookings per day and the buffer times. It gets really, you got to use those logic skills from our early math classes. So I've hit save. We're done with availability. Now we're looking at forms and payments. So you have multiple forms that you can create and use within the system. So you can select your form and create other forms in the system right here. I have lots of different forms based on lots of different things that I've done or I've collected from other people. But typically when someone is booking with me, I just need their first name, their last name, their email, their phone number, and what they want to talk about. So I can leave this as a default form right here. But say you are a massage therapist and you want some more information, or say you're a hairstylist and you want to know what services they want. Are they going to go with a brown or a blonde or a red? Do they want to have, a lot cut off or any additional services? Or you're that massage therapist and you need to know if they've got any specific pains, some things that they need to prepare for or anything like that. So that's where this form comes into play. You can collect additional information by creating new forms and have them associated with each individual calendar. This widget order says, all right, do you want to start collecting their information first? So instead of when they go to the calendar, are they looking at the time to book with you first, or are they providing you with their information first? So I don't know if you've ever seen that when you go to a website and you're buying something. So maybe you found a course that you want and they ask for your information first. So they ask for your name and your email address and maybe your phone number. And then you have to hit submit or continue to go to the next page to add your payment. It's called a two-step order form. And that's what this is mimicking. If you put the form first, then they have to provide you with their name, their email address, their phone number. You're collecting that information into your CRM first before they can see what your availability is. So you're automatically collecting their information before they get to that booking piece. So if we go here, this is book first or choose a time first, then provide me information. So if I do here and here and here, then it goes to this section. But what if I want this information first? So then you would basically just do a drag and drop or a click and drag. So you're going to click it and drag it and move it up first so that information gathering page is first. Okay. Pre-populate fields. This is sticky contacts. So if this is someone that has already scheduled with you, they've booked with you in the past, they're a regular contact or client with you, you can have it pre-populate fields based on maybe a cookie or something that is currently in their system, whatever they're using to book with you. So you can have it say, all right, this cookie is going to be embedded in your system. And so we're going to add your information for you automatically. So this is totally up to you if you would like to have that. The consent checkbox, this is this thing right here. So it's I agree to the terms and conditions. I agree to receiving. So this is that information. So typically it's I consent to receiving additional marketing messages or receiving any communication from this company. I understand I'm providing my contact information. I agree that I can be contacted. So that's what this consent checkbox is. Adding guests, totally up to you. Do you want them to have the ability to bring someone else, or do you just want them to be able to forward the calendar link? But if you have them that they can bring their own guests, by clicking this Add Guests button, then they can add their own name and email address, or they can just provide a count. I'm bringing 4 people. So this kind of helps you if you're doing a class, or if you're doing, maybe this is being used for a restaurant booking. It's the wrong kind of calendar, but you can have it with that kind of information in here. The confirmation page is once they hit submit, they say, okay, I chose my time, I gave you my information, now I've hit submit. What happens after that? You can do a thank you message, and you can choose that message without any problem. So you can just have it be on the same page and it gives them a message. Or you can have it go to a pretty confirmation thank you page. So it's a pretty designed web page. And so it says, thank you, here's your information, here's your details, here's more information about me. So I would absolutely suggest having a pretty confirmation page set up in your funnel steps or something like that, so that you can have a pretty page for them to see. Facebook Pixel, if you are running ads or think you're going to be running ads in the future, you can add your own Facebook Pixel ID in here, so that you start collecting the data on the people that are scheduling with you, so that you can start creating your own custom audience. Auto-confirming new calendar meetings. So this one is when we looked, half an hour ago, sorry for the video being so long. When we looked at this at the very beginning and I was showing you the different appointments were coming into me being confirmed. There are some people that just want to have the new schedule to be considered new. And then what's happening is maybe someone is using two different scheduling systems. That happens a lot with some of the doctor's offices, because they have some older systems that don't integrate very well. So they're booking it in two different places. So they want to have the scheduling link, but they need it to say, yes, I can, but they need to be able to say, yes, this is confirmed, I can do it at this time. So that's why you may not want to have it auto confirm automatically. Maybe you just want to accept them as new for right now. And then when you know that you're good to go, you can confirm it. And then once it's confirmed, have automations that say, yep, your meeting's good to go. Here's your information. Here's those next pieces. So that's totally up to you. I typically leave this on, and I would say that most use cases are leaving this as it is. So you can accept payments without having to use a service calendar for appointments. So say you want this to be a paid discovery session. You can enter an amount here. So maybe you want to have a $97 30-minute meeting, and have people pay you for this meeting before you meet. Now you can say, okay, I want to accept a partial payment. Totally up to you if you want to do that instead, or you can accept the whole amount. Now this description is what's actually going to be showing. So if we go back into previous calendars, so if we go here, although this is a service calendar, this is the same general idea. This one is $175. By booking with me, you will be paying $175. So this is what that particular type of thing looks like. So this description here would be, by scheduling with me, you will be charged this such and such amount of money. Okay. If you are accepting a payment, you do need to make sure that you have a payment processor connected. So whether it's Stripe, Square, NMI, Authorize.net, PayPal has some issues on occasion, but you can have any of them connected, and this would be how you would collect that payment. The other thing is you want to make sure that you take the payment from test to live. Otherwise, it will not actually accept the payment through with a credit card. So you do want to make sure, if you are accepting payments, that it is listed as live, not test. Okay, we're going to hit save and go to the next two screens. Sorry for the length of these. The calendars have a lot. All right, so this is where some new things have popped into play. So I haven't played with these quite as much, but these are some massive changes that have happened in the calendaring system. So notifications and additional options. Appointment booked. Do you want notifies when appointment is booked with an unconfirmed status? So you can change this. So we currently have it that you get an email and something and a notification in app. So in app means there's a little, when we're on the other screens, has a button up here that has a little bell, and you can see those. That's where the in app is. Or if you're using the mobile app, it would be your in app on your phone. So essentially, the changes on this screen are set up so that you don't have to set up your own individual automations for these things that we would normally look at in our system. So knowing that you have cancellations, if something's been rescheduled, what the reminders are for the appointment, anything like that. So instead of having it booked specifically in an automation in a different part of the system, this is a new feature that is allowing you to do it from this calendar, specific to this calendar, and everything else. Now, people like me, I've been using the system for a very long time. I like having it in the automations. I can see the ways things are going through. I can see a lot of the execution logs and how many people are going through and have that kind of tracking. So I would probably still build it in automations because I want to be able to have that granular level of control. However, if you are new to the system and you're building it out yourself and you're not feeling comfortable with automations, I can absolutely understand why you would have it here and not have it in an actual automation. So if we look at this follow-up message, we're going to, and excuse me, I have a cat now. We are going to look to see, is there going to be an automation specifically for follow-ups? What happens after the appointment is done? And it will only be triggered if the appointment is listed as confirmed, unconfirmed, or showed. So if we do an enable email notifications, then your contact, the person that was supposed to have the appointment, and anyone else will get a message. So if we send it to the contact, then how long after the event do you want to have this go through? What email template do you want to use? What is your subject line? And then writing your email. Totally up to you if you want to use all this stuff. It's actually looking pretty decent. So it makes it a lot easier for you to create these and have it based per calendar as opposed to creating a whole new automation. Instead of having emails, you can maybe do it in app. So this would be, what do you want to have sent via the app, the mobile app, or here in the system? What do you want it to show? So you can have these as availability for communications to yourself, to your team, anything like that. So the next piece is allowing Google or whatever calendar program that you have to send the invitation and update emails to attendees. So what this is actually when an email goes out, it'll also send an email out from the Google Calendar as well. And then what'll happen on the other side of that is if you need Google, you want Google to make sure that if there's an issue, or for me yesterday, I have someone on my team that I needed to add to one specific meeting. So I did that from my Google Calendar, and I was able to add them that way without having to come here into the system and send it in that way. So having Google or your current calendar system send that can be a good thing. It can get a little bit confusing for the people receiving it though as well, because they're getting two confirmation messages. Totally up to you how you want to do it. I've never had anyone come back to me and say, why am I getting two? This looks really weird. I'm really confused. So this allows just some available additional security for communications. You can also assign the contacts to their respective calendar team members once the appointment is booked. This typically only needs to be done if you have multiple people in your company doing meetings. And then maybe in the back end, what you're doing is that person only has access to the contacts that they are assigned to. There are people that you don't want them to be able to see all of their information. So if you have a sales team and you want them working just on their prospective leads or their prospective clients, but not necessarily someone else's. So maybe you want John to see his, Sally to see hers, but you don't want John to see Sally's. This is where this comes into play, is assigning contacts to the people that you need to have for multiple team members and things like that. Typically doesn't need to happen if it's just you and you're the admin on the account. You can see everything anyway. Now, this is one of the features that I absolutely love the most, which is the cancellation and rescheduling links. So you can now, so we've always had the cancellation and rescheduling links, and we can actually see those. For example, if I go to today and I look at this one, so down here, I can actually see that in my meeting, you can see a rescheduling link and a cancellation link. So the contact that is booking with me, when they say, okay, I need to reschedule, well, all I have to do is click on this link. It will take them right to the area, and then their information is rescheduled. So that meeting isn't showing for this day. It's now showing for whatever new day that they put it in for. So that's what this allows for. There are, of course, companies or services that you don't want them to schedule or reschedule or cancel too late. So a lot of people have maybe a 24-hour rescheduling fee, or they charge you for that meeting. So you can have that in here, what the rescheduling policy is, how often or how long before a meeting do you want that link to be available, and how long will it work for. And this additional notes area, we actually literally just looked at it. That is in the event. When you're looking at the calendar, this is the calendar notes. So this is, again, both contact facing and you facing. So you want to make sure, because this information is mainly for you. So any additional notes in here could be, what do you want them to do before the meeting? What information do you want them to have? Thanking them for scheduling. What are those, what is your rescheduling policy, your cancellation policy, that type of information. And it's up to you if you want to have this phone and email address. You may not need to have that for this particular system, because you have access to their contact record in the system. But if you're letting the system book for other team members, they may want this. So again, just keep in mind that this is contact facing and you facing. So this ends up on both of your calendars in the event notification area. So we've got one more section, which is the customizations, and that is what's going to put the pretty colors and pieces in as well. So we're going to scroll all the way up. Now, this calendar cover image is when we go to look at these other calendars, and if we go to this screen, so the group screen, the services calendar screen, and it went back too far. So if we go to the book session, this here is the calendar cover image. These are also the calendar cover image. These are only displayed when that calendar is being looked at in a group or service calendar. So that's the only place that this picture comes into play. So again, it is also 180 by 180. Totally up to you if you would like to use these. Again, if you were using a group calendar or a service calendar, really good thing to have those. But if you're not using a group or a service calendar, you don't need these. Okay, but so that's where this comes into play, and you do want to make sure that it is a square, and this is the size of what it's going to look like on your website. I honestly just, the calendar widget style, I wouldn't change it. Most of the stuff that you wanted to do is going to stay in Neo anyway, so I wouldn't change this at all. I don't know why they still have that. But this is where you can change the colors. So this is the standard color that they have in the system. Everything runs pretty much on hex codes. So it's a design name for or code for specific colors on the color wheel. So most people, when they're creating their companies, they know what their hex colors are. So you can actually come in, you would click on the color, come down here to the hex code, and then you can change it. So all I did was typed in my memorized hex code, hit the tab or enter button, and you can see that it changed. So maybe I don't know my code. Maybe I want to change it to something else. So I'm going to change it. Let's do an orange just so we can kind of show a color. So now when I do that, so there's this orange color. The background color, let's make this black. So we're going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the primary color is going to be green. Here is the background color. The button text, that's what, when we go in here and we look at the actual calendar, so when I hit 10:15, that's what the select is. So instead of select, it could be schedule. So instead of schedule meeting, I'm just going to hit schedule and leave that there. These are actually where other colors could come into play: the calendar title, calendar description, and calendar details. So if we preview the changes I just made, let's see what it does. All right, so we have the form first. So we got to get rid of that because now we can't see what our colors are. So I'm going to go back to forms and payment, and I'm going to make my form after my sketch selector. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go to customizations, and I'm going to preview the widget. So now I've got a Halloween themed. It's got some, all of the different colors. We're going to look at November. And so it's got orange and 1:30, and I can select, and now it says schedule down here, and this is the form. The payment information, because I didn't put it into live mode, it now says test mode, so it will not collect a payment. So this is what our finished calendar looks like. So when you embed this in a page and you want maybe this white section, you would make your page black as well. And then you would have a totally different calendar, not Calendly, completely designed specifically for you, your branding, your company, your information, and it's all done for you. So that is how you work with most of the calendars. I apologize for it being so long. There's a lot actually that goes into making a calendar. The other thing I kind of want to point out just real quick is your total amount of calendars is here in this list. I'm going to find this calendar. So we just created testing calendar October 2024. You can see that it's called a personal calendar. You can see that it's active, and now you want to share it. So you can come in with the 3 dots and you can edit it. If it's a calendar that you like, that you want to keep using, you just need to change have someone have one similar, but maybe a 1 hour session. Then you can duplicate this and not have to recreate the wheel again. To get the scheduling link that you would share with other people, you would grab the share button and you can grab the scheduling link. You can use the permanent link, not a problem. If you want someone to just be able to use one time, you can get a one-time link. So maybe it's you as your contact can only use it once. You're giving them one chance to meet with you. They can use this link. If they try to get a second time, that link will not work. Or the embed code, this would be the code to add it to your website. Maybe you have a WordPress website, or you have a Wix or Weebly or Square or somebody else's website. You can embed this code into that website, so you still have everything working through this system. You still have the form, still have the calendar, everything is still coming into the system, but you're using a website that you have on a different builder. So you can get the embed code in there. If you don't like this, so if I go back to the share, if you don't like this long gobbledygook scheduling link, you can create a URL redirect to make it look a lot cleaner. So that is another option. If you would like information on that, let me know. I'm happy to help you. Thank you so much for your time. I apologize for a 52-minute training session. Again, there's a lot that actually goes into creating a calendar. If you have any questions or need any information, please reach out to me.